Oh. Oh. That's all good. Then down. I'm gonna go grab a cup of tea before I start streaming properly. So bear with me. There's not actually a bear with me. That would be fucking ridiculous. Put that. Good. We're good with that. We'll just sort of see how it's all ordered when we're there. We'll just chat, see what happens. I need a bio, I need a drink. If you'd like to ask a question brackets. I'm typically going to be a good few minutes behind in chat, so if you start asking them now, it's all good. You can ask me stuff about Star Citizen, about what I reckon about stuff, about what we know about stuff, about CitizenCon, about leaks, about mental health, about my channel, about me, about computers, whatever really. And I will try and answer it. I don't know everything. I'm not a CIG dev. I mean, I can pretend, eh? No. Be right back. Sorry, I'm back. Come in. Here. Sorry, there was a parcel at the door, and then my cat needed attention. Very attention-y. What music is this? This from the Vertical Slice? This is Jefferson Ellie stuff, isn't it? Right, what we got here? Me. Bam! BoredGamer. Wearing glasses again today because he's smart, gamer. He looks smart. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Got my cup of tea. Oh. Some of my friends have made me a random excuse generator. So it like goes, oh, sorry, I had to go. I had to disconnect or whatever because Derek Smart cooked a whole chicken from Sainsbury's and they delivered it round the back by accident. It'll have a really weird sort of like collection of things and excuses and things that I've said all splodged together. What did I want to share? Oh, time codes. Where is this? Oh. So, for some of you may be aware, I'm friends with Cameron from CIG. He's one of my best mates. And I collect lots of video. I collect lots of video of CIG devs in the background of videos for memes later in life. So I've got Cameron and Warpaint and shit like this. But today we had... I was looking through the footage of the Star Citizen live. Let me turn this music down further. Sorry. Turn this down so you can hear me a bit better. Eh? Is that better? Hear me a bit better? Yeah? Is that good? Yeah, that's good. So we got just someone realising they're on camera live, which I liked. But just before this, Cameron having a bit of wonder in the background. A bit of a wander around. Comes into the live stream. Casual like. It gets told he's on camera. Then someone says that they're live streaming and she doesn't realise they're live streaming, she thinks they're recording. Oh shit. That's funny shit, mate. Sorry, that's just something I find personally oddly funny. But one day I will put a selection of all the CIG weird sort of like memes and things that I've made together. So you'll have like the, what is it? The surprised squirrel, whatever it was, surprised chipmunk. Dun, dun, dun. Whatever, I don't know. I used to be funny, maybe. Who knows? How's everyone doing today, though? You good? You happy? You in between? I hope everyone is doing well. I was playing board games yesterday. I was playing Gen 7, a board game from the same guys that made Dead of Winter. So I got my videos done in the morning. And then didn't stream because I was playing board games. So I'm streaming now, was the idea. I haven't been feeling very well recently, just tired. Probably because I'm unfit and just sort of like live inside. It's something I want to do though. Been playing lots of Sea Salt, which is a little Cthulhu-esque game. Really, really enjoyable little retro run around control swarm of minions. This is the package that just arrived. People are asking. It's a game called Monikers, the new printing of it. Some Monikers backed on Kickstarter. Monikers is a game where you have a card and you have to describe that card without saying the word on the card to your team. And then the next round, it's the same cards. You take a selection of the cards, there's fucking loads of them. Same cards, but then you can only describe it in a single word. And then the same cards again that both teams were using, but you can only do it with gestures, and then it keeps on getting more stupid, and then it's just like one facial expression. So it gets quite cool, the game. A little party game. Hope everyone is doing well, as I said. We got 3.7.1 on the PTU with the C build. And it's fucking great, because they are genuinely trying to address the problems that I had, problems that we all had with the 3.7 branch of the game. They did also say that they were going to probably have a 3.7.2 patch as well at some point, but they haven't released 3.7.1 to live yet. Good. It's good that they haven't done that. I want that patch to be in a very good state with mission accessibility, with quantum travel problems solved. They've already solved the problems with ships not spawning with their components and things like that, which should have been solved in the original 3.7 live build, in my opinion. I want them to hit deadlines, but I don't want mini patches where possible. I mean, we're going to have them sometimes, but I don't want mini patches that with fixes that could have been solved if they just had kept a PTU for an extra week in the live build. Do you know what I mean? That might just be me. I will complain both sides of that because I'm quite a complainy person. I think some of you are realising more and more. We ask questions now. Yes, you can ask questions now. Yeah, I do weird mic tests. It's just to make sure the levels don't clip. That does clip a little bit. But I can't find any details on how the upcoming physical damage system will work. Have CIG said any more about it? What are your thoughts and potential gameplay from it? So physical damage and physicalized components sort of like come hand in hand for me. So the idea is that different damage types will deal different types of damage to your hull of your ship, will penetrate through your ship. There'll be a piercing system. Hulls can literally be damaged in those particular sections. You know, projectiles coming through, and then that will hit physicalized components, and then those components will be damaged, destroyed, degrade based on them getting hit and by what types of damage. You'll see distortion damage come into its own. You'll see armor, actual physical armor on the hull, armor potentially as an item as well, stuff like that. So it's important for the game, physicalized components and physicalized damage, for the physical damage system, I should say. Don't get stuff overly confused. But we don't know too much about beyond what CIG have already talked about it. I would expect that they will talk about it a lot at CitizenCon, and I'd also expect that it's a lot closer to being in our hands than you might think, because they need it for Squadron 42, to at least some extent. I suppose we probably don't need fully physicalized components for Squadron 42, although it would be good to have. Can I switch to events viewer? Switch to legacy events viewer. Thank you very much, Joe King. Very much appreciated for the cheer. Thanks for all the information. Well, thanks for chucking money at me, mate. That's much appreciate. No, oh no, what have I done? I just got rid of my chat. Let's bring that back. Do I need this chat? Yeah, I'll keep this chat there. The new Streamlabs is confusing me. What do we know about the other quantum interdiction ships like the Mantis? Any confirmed or rumours of capital or large ships, interdiction components, or other ships like the Mantis? Yeah, so the Mantis is actually a reasonably low-tier version of an interdiction ship, apparently. They want to have abilities for other ships to do it. Potentially that will be capital size components. That will be other ships that will have to fit them as modules. Some ships will have to have modules that aren't as good as the Mantis, but allows them to do some form of interdiction. So there's going to be a bit of a mixed bag with it in the future, but it's not going to be the only quantum interdiction ship. Like your glasses, dude. Thank you very much. I wear them occasionally. I should wear them more. I've got pretty fucking good eyesight. However, when I'm at the computer all day and reading all day, these are fucking fantastic. Because I don't get eye strain so much. I actually feel really tired during the days. And a lot of it is eye strain, I think. Just because I've worked and used computers for so long, for so huge portion of the day, constantly. Board, are you going to CitizenCon? Yes, I will be going to CitizenCon the day before. I know there's been a post on the Bar Citizen as well, which I haven't actually read yet, but I do have on my screen somewhere. So I'll be getting tickets to that. I think it's a ticketed event. So I'll see about that. I'll be going there on the day before. So I'll be at CitizenCon, well, at Manchester on the 22nd of November and the 23rd. I suppose I'll be coming home on the 24th, would be my expectation. I think that's when I've got my plane tickets for. I'm not going as part of for CIG or anything like that. I'm going under my own buck, or I suppose say my own buck, probably through donations people have paid me. And very much looking forward to it. If people are there during the day before. Happy to meet you. Happy to have a drink, chat, whatever. I'm pretty approachable. I'm pretty chill. If for you there was one feature or event or a particular reveal that would elevate this year's CitizenCon, what would it be? Squadron 42 release date is what I want more than anything else. Actually, at the moment, I want them to go. Squadron 42 is going to be released 2020, bam, or something like that, or early 2021. If something like that will really make it for me. I'd like to see aliens. I'd like to see a new system. I'd like to see jump points. There's a huge amount of stuff that I'd want to see for CitizenCon. I cannot put it down to a single feature. I'm sorry, because there's so much I want to see. Zin. Sorry, guys, when I'm in mods compiled my shopping order. Zin, yeah. So Zin's the girl that's gonna be working for me in the not too distant future. I keep on saying that she's a girl because she is a girl, and I want people to know that I do know women. And I've realised that I have a very different sort of like gaming group to a lot of people. A lot of people they talk about. I've talked to a lot of girls when I've been at events and stuff. They've said, I'm not bragging. They've said they've had a hard time in sort of like gaming communities and stuff. It's the opposite in my gaming group. Like, it's female dominated is the way I describe it. Kit and Zin are matriarchs of the stupid boys, and I very much love you guys. Zinja, Kitya, sorry, Kit. I love you both. I mean, Kit's not here. But, what are you drinking? Tea? It's just some genuine like black tea. Some organic black tea. My mother buys it for me. Sorry, my brother just smoked some beef, and there are some interesting excuses on the excuse generator. What else have we got here? How do you think? Oh, once Star Citizen comes out, do you think devs will sort of adapt events to what players do too? Like if some org decided to capture a planet, or the game tried to claim it back or something. So there's going to be a dynamic mission system which is going to be responsive and simulate missions and NPCs and what they're doing, probability volumes based on stuff that's happening in the economy. I suspect a lot of stuff will have gameplay catered for it already, like potentially capturing planets, be that in the Wild West areas, holding space stations, economic damage and change that will be affected by orgs holding areas. I also suspect that CIG will have planned incursions, big sweeping story events that will happen in the persistent universe and stuff like that as well. But a lot of the gameplay is also going to be responsive. So they'll go, players are doing this. Let's build some gameplay around that. Let's build some extra stuff around that. Let's start doing some missions around that. A lot of stuff will already be catered for and will be the game sort of like responding to it. But CIG will have control of the news, will have control of additions they make in the game. They're going to want to support the game for 10, 15, 20 years as well. So, yeah, I would expect them to be very responsive to how players play the game. If someone's trying to hold a planet in the Wild West areas, they go, well, they've held it for a year. Let's say it's theirs. Things like that. How good do you think game performance will be when Star Citizen will be out, version 1? It will be incredibly scalable. So expect stable frame rates of 60 to 120 based on what resolution and graphic settings you run. Much more scalable. There's going to be Vulkan support. It's going to scale to a much more hardware more easily. So yeah, significantly better than what we currently have. Hello everyone. Why are people like me? I don't understand why people like me. I'm an idiot. I do appreciate the love. I'm new to Star Citizen. I'm a bit confused on where to start my adventure. Are there any good tutorial or instruction videos? So I can have an idea what to do. I've got a Start Here Star Citizen video on my YouTube channel, which goes over the basics of 3.7 for entirely new player, which is the latest patch. There's Star Citizen official tutorials as well, which will give you a good head start at certain things. You can find that on the actual Star Citizen YouTube channel. You can find mine on my channel under tutorials. But basically, you want to get some missions, do some missions, and then go and visit the major landing zones and buy or rent ships. Basically, what you want to do missions, rent ships, and then try out FPS mining and caves. We'll try and get a cave mission at some point. You'll be like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do this. Do you feel worried, like I do, that unfinished games are, as a viable product, is going to be the new norm? It is the new norm. It's been the norm for 5 years. It's a fucking terrible thing to have large AAA publishers and large AAA game creators having that as the norm. It's terrible. So it's fine for indie projects. It's fine for companies that are kickstarting something. It's fine for certain stuff like Greenlight on Steam, when we had Greenlight on Steam. Early access for not AAA games or for smaller projects or projects that wouldn't be funded otherwise is fine. But when you are releasing giant to major games that are literally unfinished from AAA publishers, it's bad. Star Citizen, I mean, the alpha, it's their first project, so I'm looking forward to what they can do. It is a long-term development project, and that's going to put some people off, but I love what they're doing. It's a bit slower than I'd like. I think that's true for everyone. At the least, it's a bit too slow. But yeah, I don't want pre-orders to be a basis of games. I don't want exclusivity on platforms. I don't mind people pre-ordering stuff as long as it doesn't give you any bonuses, really. I understand that games, for some reason, feel that they need to pre-order. I mean, it's good business sense, maybe, just financial. I don't fucking know. But I don't want sort of like... I'd rather see the reviews than pre-order, yeah? I want to see a review of a game than pre-order. I don't want to see exclusivity on the Epic Store. I want to see it freely available on all platforms. I don't want games to be development as a service. Star Citizen is in danger of changing the industry if it's successful, and lots of games will try and do development as a service in the same way Star Citizen has. Also, I don't want games to directly lie about their monetization process like they have with Fallout and some other games. I know they're responsive to that typically, but and they go, I hate you, what you're doing. And they go, okay, we'll respond to that and go, well, we were a bit greedy, but it looks like you won't buy our game if we're too greedy. But at the same time, that's sort of balanced in the fact that I understand these companies need to make money and they are capitalists. So. Been wondering, since I want to use the C2 Hercules Starlifter and do commercial transport, do you think AI will actually be able to be part of passengers and integrated into the system? Yes, they will. You'll be able to have missions to do that. You'll be able to have AI giving you missions and going on your Genesis Starlines and stuff. At least that's the plan. How's your Saturday going? Had to cancel my CitizenCon ticket due to family illness. Oh, Jock Cop, I'm sorry to hear that. CIG were really good about it and sent me store credit. Have a drink there for me. I will do. I'm sorry, man. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask, I've got a thread up on my YouTube community tab and on my Discord. So check that out if you're interested. Chuck a question in there if you want to ask, or several. I'll try and ask them. Oh, sorry, man. That's shitty. I'm looking forward to capital ship fights and capital ship to capital ship weapon sort of like exchanges. Do you think 3.8 will bring new Star Citizens? Yeah. We're getting new Star Citizens all the time. New accounts, new actual players. There's been a big wad of new players for 3.7, and I think that will grow over the next couple of weeks, especially when 3.7.1 comes out. It's a bit more playable. 3.8, Christmas time, between CitizenCon and 3.8, I think that's going to be a huge amount of new players. Star Citizen is certainly not a mainstream game yet, and it's not a hold your hand game, it's not a fleshed out game, it's not a sit down and play game really, unless you've got an org, or you love it, or you're sort of like into the sort of development and game play that it's got now, which is, you know, finding things that are broken and trying to help fix them. So, I love Star Citizen, I love the community. I think I'm supposed to be playing with an org later tonight. Hopefully they'll message me about that. I forget stuff like that quite often. Will the C2 Hercules Starlifter be a regular cargo hauler? It will have the ability to haul cargo, yes. A good amount of cargo. It's not dedicated for military transports. It can transport tanks, a couple of them, or cargo, or a tank and cargo. Obviously there's different Starlifters as well. There's the A2 and the M2. M2 can carry a tank and a little bit of cargo. The A2 just a tank or a tiny bit of cargo, I believe. And then you've got the C2, which can carry two tanks. When will we see ship-to-ship docking? So they moved it off the roadmap. Don't know when it's going to turn up. They said that it would allow for, when they've got that in the game, at the same time they're going to have the snubcraft, the Constellation being able to dock and undock. I don't know why they've removed it from the roadmap, probably because they don't know exactly when it will land. I would expect it within the next three updates, in the next 3 quarters. I have a Carrack, and I can't imagine using the ship. Oh, so you'll be able to... The Carrack's not going to have ship-to-ship docking. It doesn't need it. So it's only for parasite craft, really, that ship-to-ship docking is super important. It's got other uses as well, admittedly. But the Carrack has got a hangar, I believe, for its Pisces. I believe. I mean, maybe it is. If it's parasite docking, then I would expect ship-to-ship docking coming in 3.8. I have seen a lot of debate on quantum travel times. I personally think they're a bit too long with the current state of gameplay. What do you think? Depends on the size of your ship. And what, there's a range from like 16 minutes to 4 minutes for the longest route based on what quantum engine you've got, quantum drive you've got. So for a small single-seater, it takes you fucking ages. For a hammerhead or whatever, it's pretty damn quick. Or an 892, it's pretty damn quick. So bear that in mind. You don't have to keep on travelling long distances in your small ship. You can just do it once per gameplay session, or less than that, once a week, if you wanted to. There isn't enough ways to travel quickly in your small ship in the verse currently. You want to be able to dock with a Kraken, or have multiple ships on different planets, and get on a Genesis Starliner and be able to travel to that planet and then rent one. Yeah, so in that sense, yeah, we need more to be able to not have to travel around the verse for so long. That can be annoying, admittedly. We like you because you give us more information than CIG does. No. So most of my information, like 99% of it, is from CIG, from their various sources, be it Jump Point, be it Star Citizen Live, from the newsletter. Some of it's my opinion and elaborations, or putting together of information they've said from multiple sources. But a lot of it's on the spectrum, a lot of it's on Reddit, a lot of it's on just lots and lots of sources compiled. So what I try and do is compile those sources, talk about it with a bit of authority, doing a bit of research into it. Yeah. I mean, we know that with Star Citizen stuff changes. We know that the roadmap changes. I just keep track of it pretty well. I'm sure there's a couple of people online that keep track of it better than I do, but I've been doing it for a long time. It is my focus as a job, effectively. So I'm glad people enjoy me keeping them up to date with Star Citizen, putting a lot of the stuff into context. When are we going to be able to keep earned Alpha UEC through patch updates? It is the time sync. Yeah, so it's possible from 3.8 onwards. We could have persistent Alpha UVC and Alpha UVC purchases. It's sort of been implied that that's potentially what they're working towards for 3.8. It might not be. It might be for 3.9, might be later. But they've talked about it a couple of times recently, saying they can decouple some of these features. They don't have to have true full persistence. They have to have Alpha UVC persisting between patches. They can sort of like have that. So I would hope for 3.8. It would be so good if it is. Oh. Will Star Citizen and Squadron 42 have a tutorial level? Preferably skippable. I'd expect so. Squadron 42, almost certainly. It's going to have teach you how to play the game, use the game. It's a single-player experience. It needs to have that to some degree. So it will have some form of tutorial or tutorial-type thing going on. Star Citizen, I would expect missions, like starter missions for each of the main roles and ways to play them in-game, which you can then do and sort of like learn how that role works as you play. Probably a sort of like Squadron 42, Arena Commander type simulation to explain how this stuff works. And we've had Chief Gilly, or Gully, whatever his name, Gilly. There was a proper tutorial level for Squadron 42, or for Star Citizen, I suppose, but I expected that was for Squadron 42. going through the game and how to play it. You need to go to the toilet dancing in your seat. I'm dancing in my seat because I have sort of like anxiety, so I sort of like vibrate a bit. No, I'm not feeling like anxious because I'm streaming. I just, you know, sometimes vibrate. Do you think they're going to start dropping whole systems or keep doing incremental planets this foreseeable future? I think you'll see both. I think we'll, at CitizenCon, I do think we'll see a new system or two. Almost certainly Pyro system, hopefully more. And then they'll start adding more systems to the game once they have server-side object container streaming. Probably server meshing is what's needed. But I would expect to start to see that next year. And you'll see a mixture of planets, planet updates, and systems. What did you think of the Digital Foundry analysis of Star Citizen? Reasonably fair. I'm assuming it's got criticism from Star Citizen detractors. Like, it'll be, what would they say? What would I say if I didn't like it? Chill? Paid by CIG? An ad? It'll be something like that, I suspect detractors will say. The dude obviously doesn't know everything in the world about Star Citizen, but he knows a good amount. He's done a good amount of research, and he's obviously loved the way it looks. He's like, oh my fucking god, it's pretty. So it was a mixture of pretty fair analysis with a bit of fanboyism. I like Digital Foundry as well. I think it does great work. So I thought it was a cool video. I don't think everyone will think it's a cool video. I thought it was pretty reasonable, pretty cool. Check Digital Foundry's video on that if you want. It's good to see bigger YouTubers cover stuff like that. I mean, obviously Level Cap's covered Star Citizen and taps in occasionally as well. I've been seeing Cyanide and Quebec stream it as well. So I like their streams. They're pretty chill, quite funny. What kind of gadgets do you think we'll see in Star Citizen? Like deployable recon drones, for example, or a device that creates false signatures, a fake distress signal. So, I will talk about some of this now. So, we know, articles on my website, there's been some leaks recently from the patch notes for like 3.7.1. There's been some included work on missions and stuff that they've been building. Some of the stuff is scanning and radar grenades, decoy grenades. So they've been working on these gadgets and stuff. So decoy grenades literally create loads of fake signatures. Scanning grenades will scan an area. Low gravity push grenades, EMP grenades, flashbangs, that's cluster rockets, grenade launchers. I'm not sure if they're going to be throwable gadgets and grenades or part of grenade launcher ammo or both. Probably both. But there's we know there's going to be a force field that's deployable. We know there's going to be other like hologram generators and things like that. So I expect a lot of different gadgets. They'll probably keep on expanding out gadgets to have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of them. Or like wherever their minds decide to take them. When is 3.7.1 coming? It's Open PTU at the moment for everyone. They have said they'll probably do a 3.7.2 as well, which is a bit annoying, but I'm at the moment, I'm glad that they are keeping 3.7.1 in the PTU, because they need to get all those remaining bugs fixed, although they've done a pretty fucking good job for 3.7.1c. So it's Open PTU for everyone, if you want to try it now. I would expect it probably like Tuesday of next week, so next couple of days. Do you think that 3.8 on the roadmap is actually what 3.8 will be? I suspect there will be a little bit of movement with 3.8 stuff, and quite a bit of extra stuff and new missions and a lot of extra content that won't be revealed until CitizenCon that we'll be getting. So a little bit of stuff moving around, some stuff getting pushed back, a lot of extra stuff that they haven't revealed yet. Have they had that planning meeting yet? I would expect they know pretty much what's going to be at CitizenCon now. There might be a couple of things that like we'll show it if it's ready. What about operating system exclusivity? Only the on-wash masses run Windows. Linux support would be amazing.
It's going to have Vulkan integration, so if it's possible to have Linux support, I suspect they will. Video request board, I would love a video on how to use comms and style system. VoIP, setup, channels, etc. When 3.7.1 goes live, I will do something. There's fixes and tweaks for VoIP in that, and it's probably worth doing a best practices and how to get your VoIP and VoIP set up optimally and encountering problems. You think we'll see capital stealth ships along the lines of modern-day ballistic submarines? Potentially. I mean, you can... Yes, I will. I do think we'll see capital ships which are slightly more geared towards being stealthy, and then obviously management of those systems will allow you to be reasonably stealthy. Will you be able to spawn ships on docking stations? On docking stations? You'll be able to spawn ships in ships at some point in the future. Do you think you can use the Starfarer Gemini for a role than just a tanker ship, Explorer or similar? I think there's going to be modularity in systems that you can change around to have it slightly more focused towards another role. Its main role, the Starfarer Gemini, is to be a fuel transport ship to refuel, to gather fuel. But you can sort of like do a little bit of a sidestep with some of the roles of ships. Just remember, it is focused mainly on fuel gathering. Are there any details on game optimization for large-scale battles? Server meshing, server-side object container streaming. There's a load of new network tech that they're working on at the moment that should allow for these huge battles. Will we ever get seismic bombs in-game? I swear the sound of that thing in Star Wars was beyond music to my ears. They talked about actual nukes being a thing in-game. I thought they weren't a thing, but they said, no, nukes exist in the verse. So, okay. I suspect there will be some big bombs and conventional ordnance and unconventional ordnance for planetary use and interesting torps in space in the future. That makes sense. To what extent, I don't know. Switch back to legacy events, yeah. There we go. That's better. Is there any information on when we will see first fauna on planets? No, they talked about in Star Citizen Live, they talked about they were potentially working on some wildlife for caves. I would expect to see something animal-like probably at CitizenCon. They've worked on the, not the Onicrab, they are Onicrabs. They're sort of like floaty, weird bug space rat things on Hurston. We've obviously seen the sandworm before, but that was obviously a very scripted animal. That's on layer 3. And we should be in-game in the future. But I would expect to start to see fauna animals on planets potentially next year, probably. Like at end of the year, maybe some sort of like, you know, rats type things, smaller animals that don't need full cycles and super AI. The current system is finished completely. Are you talking about Stanton's system? Stanton, there's still the Aaron Halo in there. There's still updates they can do to points of interest, missions, planets, stuff like that. There's microtech they need to put in. There's the Crusader needs to actually be a gas giant rather than a placeholder. Need the Horizon landing zone. And then jump points. And then more points of interest. How come the Squadron 42 at Chapter 1 roadmap is stuck at Step 1 of 5 while the other chapters are already at Step 3 of 5? Because it's probably, Chapter 1 is probably like the main intro sort of thing, getting you into the game, and that's the sort of thing they might actually do last. It'll be like the intro scene, any movies and stuff at the beginning of the game, the introduction to your character, creation of your character, the prologue, basically. Prologue? Prologue. Oh yeah, they created a space whale on a game. They made a crotch spider. They made a vandal dog. So you might see like the Ranta the thing that creates Ranta dung in caves appear in the not too distant future. The Banu Defender is an alien creation space crab. What creature do you think the Banu merchantman is? It's much more like whale-like, isn't it? Really, the Banu merchantman. But it's very Geiger alien space jockey sort of combined. Can we expect to see the Kraken at CitizenCon? I wouldn't expect to see the Kraken at CitizenCon this year, no. I would expect to see some new straight-to-flyable / drivable ships and vehicles. Potentially something quite big from Anvil on concept. 100 systems is going to take a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, to an extent. So they can rapidly build out a good portion of those systems because they don't have major landing zones on. So some of the systems that are pirate systems, some of the systems that they can just have procedurally generated content in, some of the systems that don't have these major landing zones which require unique assets, bam, they can get like, up to 40 systems done like that. And then the other systems they're going to want to have like Earth and Terra and specific cities, these landing zones with unique assets. So it's a mixed bag with that. Why do they keep parts of the development secret? They say because of sort of like spoilers, like Squadron 42 and things like that, which is sort of makes sense a bit, but it's also because they want to artificially generate hype. It's partly from marketing. There's a lot of reasons that it makes sense to keep stuff quiet from a standpoint of they've got a lot up their sleeve, should they, and when they want to start marketing stuff. They want stuff to be in a good place that it looks great so they can hype it up rather than a slow burn. And a lot of stuff in Star Citizen is a slow burn. So, just an outsider looking at this game, I want it to succeed, but I'm not ready to make any commitment to it. Cool. I mean, if you've got any spare time, occasionally follow the sort of like developments. There's free fly events where you can try the game out for free. Try it then as a tourist and go, this is pretty, this is cool. I don't want to sit down and play a game yet. If you don't want to get involved in the bug testing and feedback sort of stuff of how you want mechanics to work, then it's not really for you beyond being a bit of a tourist occasionally. Follow board stuff, he's pretty balanced. That's very reasonable. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love. The nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm balanced. What if they don't reveal anything extra of 3.8 at CitizenCon? What if it's all fake future stuff? I'd be annoyed if it's not stuff that's... I don't mind some future stuff. I don't mind some representations of gameplay for the future at CitizenCon. That's fine. Some. But I would like to see stuff that's going to be in my hands in the near future. I'd like to see stuff that's real and not faked. I would like to see 3.8 stuff. I'd like to see things like the Carrack, things like stuff they've got planned for Squadron 42, real gameplay from that, updates to that. So as long as they don't really feed us that fake, scripted, super, we can only do this on LAN, in this enclosed environment, in this very specific way, sort of fake missions, as long as they don't show us mostly that, or as long as it's less than like 40% that, I'm okay probably. It's a good point. It needs to be, real. Star Citizen needs to start delivering on its promises rather than making more promises without delivering. Anyone know why they increased the starter pack from 45 to 56 USD? That's probably some form of value-added tax or taxes that you've got there. With all ship remodels we have seen recently, you feel the Starfarer, I'm assuming is what he means there, rather than Starfed, needs a rework as well. No, it needs mechanics to make it work, and then all ships need a bit of a balance, obviously, with everything on them: weapons, armor, physicalized components, their flight model, all that sort of jazz. Yeah, I mean, you'll see that you'll see all ships get materials updates, lighting updates, all that sort of stuff as well, as they go forward, but just not huge reworks. Will they be open world in Squadron 42? There will be a explorable, not entirely on rails experience in Squadron 42. However, it is a single-player, narrative-driven game. You are in the military, and you are aboard ships in the military doing missions. So you're not going to have free open world. Server meshing is the hump CIG need to vault over so they can implement the procedural tech, which will enable them to exponentially increase systems, plants, and content. When do you think? I think we'll see server meshing, static server meshing next year. So the first stage server meshing. I think we'll see server-side object container streaming, parts of it in 3.8, so towards the end of this year. The rest of it coming online in 3.9 and 4.0, and then server meshing 4.0 onwards. I'd expect to see early stabs at server meshing. Is it necessary to delete the shaders folder upon every patch update as to not run into problems? I do, yes. It's only going to cause problems to some people not deleting your user folder, your shaders folder and the user folder, but it's worth doing. Do you think cockpit improvements on the roadmap? What do you think cockpit improvements on the roadmap will bring? I thought it would go hand in hand with the new HUD, but that's been pushed. It's all sort of like part of the same thing, isn't it? They're looking at different HUDs for different ships. They're improving them all. They're getting the cockpits more tactile, more clicky. Buttons are actually going to be meaningful. Animations for those buttons are going to be bespoke for every cockpit that requires them to be bespoke. It's a lot of stuff, and it's all sort of like coming together with HUDs, with the cockpit experience, getting everything a bit more snappy and cleaned up, but also having the HUDs at a glance looking a lot better and getting them into their finalized states, or closer to them anyway. I've yet to try 3.7. Your best guess when we can spawn in more than one vehicle? You can sort of spawn in more than one vehicle, though, unless someone else is in the ship seat, it can disappear. We should be able to spawn ships and ships soon. We should be able to spawn in more than one ship soon, especially with them sort of like pushing for more and more group sharing and organization features. Maybe in 3.8? Some of that? Yeah, we could see the Redeemer. We know the Redeemer's probably going to be Aegis still. We know it's a focused gunship now, and we know it's been having a full rework. When we have to hire AI crew, they've been working on AI. They need to keep on working on AI. You'll notice if you actually steal like a hammerhead in game, that's an AI hammerhead. When you target a ship, all your turret guns will shoot at that ship. They had been doing that. So they've got AI sort of working in some ways. But we need to obviously be able to hire them or get AI modules to be able to put them in our ships to fire turrets. They are working towards that. I would expect to start to see that stuff towards the end of next year. When will we see the Orion and Hull C? So the Orion, I don't know. That's a giant strip mining ship that it's become slowly bloated and become massive now. The Hull C, they wanted to have it in, I think for 3.8, but they've had to push it back because it's not ready. They're having problems with the physics grid stuff still. I think the Hull C's finished for Squadron 42's needs, Q4 of this year. I suspect we'd see it in the next 3 quarters or so. Carrick is love. Carrick is life. What happened to the news van features? Are we going to be able to report news live in-game or other networks? We don't 100% know how the Mako and the render to texture and news van mechanics will work. It might be for missions. It might allow us to stream in-game. Maybe it will be like Twitch, but in-game, and you get UEC based on your viewers, that sort of stuff. The physical damage system is Q4 for Squadron 42 roadmap. Do you think this means we could see it in 3.8? I think you could see it at CitizenCon. I don't think it would be in 3.8. Maybe 3.9, 4.0. It will take time to get it integrated properly into the Resistant universe, and they might want to get physicalized components done at the same time. Do you think we'll be able to catch or hunt alien creatures as an explorer or even tame them? Yes. They said they wanted to have pets in game. They've previously talked about being able to catch or transport animals. You might need containers or areas of your ship that are have a specific atmosphere to keep them alive or whatever. So yeah, I would expect to be able to kill, hunt, tame like get them as pets, whatever, in some way. What are some of your favourite board games? I like Dead of Winter. I like been playing Gen 7 recently. We've been playing Betrayal Legacy, which is pretty cool. We're going to start playing Pandemic Legacy soon. I like lots and lots of different board games. The sort of like semi-co-op ones I really like. I used to play a lot of Battlestar Galactica, the Betrayal board game, that sort of thing. They're pretty good. I like lots and lots of different board games. I'm pretty chill. Someone knows what they want to play, have it with them, and it's more than 2-player. I'm probably pretty much into it. Do you think when the Carrack come out, do you think there'll be a lot of them in the verse? I think they'll be a pretty popular ship, yes. I think there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of them on each server or anything. But I do think they're going to be pretty popular. I mean, they're a very, very capable ship for a huge amount of gameplay in the game that only need like 6 players to run. So their size makes them very useful for groups of a smaller size to be able to run pretty efficiently. Will we have the Xi'an, Banu, and Tavaran capital ships in game as well? Yep, they will be in game at some point. What else have we got here? Thank you very much for all the subs. Thanks very much for people chucking bits in me. And some donations. Thank you. I think Honeydew donated at the end of last stream $20 and I didn't call them out. Thank you very much for that. Very much appreciated as well. Might have done. I can't remember. Sorry, I was otherwise occupied yesterday. So otherwise I would be streaming then, not now. Will we be able to make our own ship construction sites and repair facilities at some point? There is going to be base building mechanics. We've got the Pioneer, which literally can drop outposts. You're going to be able to buy up land in UE areas, get land claims there. You're going to be able to build your own bases there. You're going to be able to exploit the resources on a planet. And to what extent we're able to do that, we don't know. Will there be outposts we can have as repair facilities and construction sites and crafting sites? We don't know. They've talked recently, literally yesterday, about they wanted crafting in the game to an extent. We sort of knew that already, but we didn't really know that they were actually looking at it. And they've talked about so a bit of crafting, but we don't know exactly to what extent we're going to get the ability to make outposts or to build other things, or are we going to be able to also have space stations that we can own or rent or take control of. Thanks for the stream board. I like how you break down information from CIG, getting the info out for new and veteran players alike. Thank you very much for watching. Much appreciated. Sorry, guys. My mum just brought over some Yorkshire puddings. Thanks, Sin. Appreciate it. I'll be stopping streaming reasonably soon, Sin. If you're around to chat. And probably play Apex, you know, like we normally do. Later on tonight, I think I'm playing Star Citizen with an org. There's some B-roll and to chill with them. In the future, when ships like the Endeavour come out, what do you think they will be able to research and how will it affect ships? I think it's going to be a mixture of stuff. So it will be data crunching and turning science things, whether that be plants, whether that be other data, whether that be exploration information, whatever, into more valuable data, literally refining data and science and whatever into other usable data. It'll be things for missions. There's a huge amount they could do with it. But yeah, it could be manufacturing drugs and stuff like that as well. What do you think the extent of medical gameplay will be? I think it will be knockdowns. I think there will be basic ways of getting people back up. I think you'll be able to jab out each other with various needles and things. I think there'll be ways of stabilizing people, ways of treating them on the battlefield, ways of treating them to some basic extent on the tier 1 to 3 tables that we're going to have as medical facilities. I wouldn't expect something super in-depth, but something in-depth enough that you can make money from doing, saving people's lives in the Apollo and that sort of stuff, and getting people in the Cutlass Red, which is basically an ambulance ship, which is really meant to stabilize people rather than treat all their wounds, getting them to like an Endeavour hospital or whatever. So I don't know to what extent how in-depth the individual mini games will be for medical gameplay, but dragging people, that sort of stuff as well, will almost certainly be there. What are your top 5 ships for solo play? Mustang Alpha, Avenger Titan, Gutless Black, Arrow, another one. Potentially the Sabre as well. I like the Sabre. If you could design any ship, would you? What are some ideas you have? I'd probably do a full-on combat drone ship. I like the idea of that. Like swarmy things. I've played a lot of Eve as well, that's probably why. Thanks for the videos, board. Will there be aliens and creatures to add some more exciting gameplay? Yes, there will be. There's obviously the Vandal, there's obviously going to be animals, there's the Xi'an, there's the Tavaran, there's the Kurthak, which we haven't seen much on, beyond that they had a war with the Xi'an called the Spirit Wars. The Banu, or Banu, as they correctly said. I've just saved 60k in my Aurora. What's the best ship to rent to make an improved profit? So you could rent an Avenger Titan, which is the next logical step up from that ship. There's also Prospector, which is a good ship if you want to go mining. There's my 2 suggestions, or a Cutlass Black. Thanks, Sin. I appreciate you running the excuse generator. So, CIG have already addressed the components going missing in 3.7. It's working in 3.7.1 PTU now. I think the fuel issues, the hydrogen fuel issue has been solved as well. I think I read it had been solved, or was being solved, or was being fixed. So you should have that working in 3.7.1 live. Do you think when the Reclaimer Claw is working, you can use it as a weapon of terror, disable enemy ship or EMP, and start taking it apart while they're cruising it? I think if the ship is not moving and has no power, you probably can. But you'd have to fully disable the ship first. That's going to be the same as tractor beams. If the ship turns its shield on or doesn't really want to be tractor beamed, it will be able to otherwise get away. Bear with me 1 second. I will be right back. Got a bit of a frog in my throat today. Ooh. So, do you think the Starfarer will be getting some love soon? Yeah. They're working on the refueling mechanics properly, so we'll start to see that coming into the game. Sorry, guys, my mum and dad needed a hand with some artisanal bread. Did I say artisanal bread once? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm such a middle-class cunt. I do apologise. Right. I did want to talk about a couple of things. So, there's been some leaks recently in the 3.7.1 patches. So, for CitizenCon, we've heard previously we think pyro system is going to be there, jump points are going to be there. They're going to show Carrack, the Pisces, potentially some new missions, stuff like that. We've also heard in the PTU builds of 3.7 and 3.7.1 some other interesting things. So we know they've been putting jump points in, or at least listing jump points as part of the game files for the Stanton system. So and from Pyro to Nyx and stuff like that as well. They've been putting all this information in. So Stanton to Pyro, Pyro to Nyx, and then you'd get Nyx going towards the Odin system, which is the Squadron 42 system that we see in the vertical slice. They've been working on a FPS hijacking mission for an 890 jump, where you come, I believe, and assist in the prevention of pirates murdering all the crew. So it's turn up at the 890 jump. I suspect there'll be some ships to fight. Then you go and board the 890 jump and fight off the pirates that are on board and try and find, hopefully, some people alive. Now, typically we've had dead bodies when we've done these missions in the past. Well, not that we've done the 890 jump mission before, but typically it's to find dead bodies. Hopefully, there will be living NPCs that might follow us. They have been working on the tech for a while for the buddy system. They have started to say that we will start to see NPCs as part of missions that aren't just hostile NPCs, but also just having a cool mission where you get to board an 890 jump that's being hijacked is pretty cool. And we can see here that there's specifics for that mission. Eliminate remaining hostiles, protect the VIP, rescue the VIP, defend the VIP, disable hacks that are on the ship. There's also a counterfeiting mission they've talked about, which is sort of like you basically steal UEC from a UEC counterfeiting station, or wreck site that's got this like money printer on it effectively. They talked about melee attacks. So melee is a lot more in depth than I thought. So this is going to have takedowns melee. It's got dodging. It's got blocking. It's got combos. Heavy attacks, light attacks, stunning by getting enough concussion damage into your arms will knock you over. There's other types of knockdown. There's melee weapons. So that's quite cool. There was a lot. There was a few more as well. They had the grenade launchers being worked on. Sort of like the files were appeared in 3.7.1. They talked about grenades. I'm not sure if it's ammo grenades or if it's throwables or both. Quite probably both. But you have some sort of quite interesting gadgets here with grenades. Decoy grenades, which fill up the your personal scanner with loads and loads and loads of little dots and stuff. You'll start to actually have FPS scanning and a little radar for your dude in the future as well. They got grenades that actually scan areas, grenades that will displace you with kinetic energy in low gravity, push or pull you effectively. There's EMP grenades, flashbangs. Interested to see how the flashbangs work. Cluster rockets were mentioned. There's interesting missions around space stations as well they've talked about. So going to stock up vending machines, going to repair faulty circuits and broken panels around stations. Now, some people will be like, what? Why? Well, NPCs will be able to do missions in the future, so it's sort of like generate these missions and NPCs will be able to do them. But what are you going to do if you're on a station and, well, maybe you're waiting for someone? You do something while you wait. It's a mission to do. But if you have no money because you're stranded on a station, you've lost a ship there, don't have enough money to buy another ship in your area or rent one, well, you can make some money to rent a ship by doing these missions on board a station. And eventually this might lead to being maintenance crew on an Idris or a capital ship as a mission. So Star Citizen wants to sort of like touch on Second Life-y type elements, living, breathing game elements, role players if they want to do stuff, and having lots of different gameplay for lots of different purposes, not just the sort of like, I want the best ships metagame, I want to own them all, but also how would you make money, what things do those ships allow you to do. So I was quite excited by that. We know that they've been building fine kiosks. They're probably going to be in 3.8 as well. So that at major landing zones, you'll be able to pay off fines that you've accrued from, shooting people that you shouldn't have, ramming them by accident, illegal parking, that sort of stuff. Was there anything else that I wanted to talk about with that? I'm not sure if there was. Oh, there's new emotes, new eyewear, and new goggles. Oh, it looks like they might be removing armistice zones. So 3.8 might, it's looking to me like they might remove the full-on armistice zones and then just have them patrolled by security, guards, turrets, the law system will all sort of like replace that. That's what it looks like to me in 3.8. Might be wrong. But they sort of like had crimes for brandishing a weapon and discharging a weapon while in armistice zones listed. So, oh, the other thing was that pretty 99% sure that ArcCorp by Area 18 is going to be where the in-game event for CitizenCon and the Expo is going to be held from the 23rd of November. The Bevic Convention Centre is a new route for a bus at ArcCorp that looks like it was discovered as well. So, if you want to check out that stuff on my website, there you go. Collect it and put articles on it quite regularly. What else have we got? What else have we got here in Chatteroo? Do you think the Starlifter will become the more dominant trade ship out of the Caterpillar / will the Caterpillar drive upgrade to it? I think you'll be able to have those ships for different types of transport and be able to outfit them differently for different things. I would expect the Starlifter to be significantly better if you're needing to transport goods to a planet or a moon, whereas the Caterpillar might be better in space and for different things. Can we see from the links which jump points might potentially be accessible from the standard system and what systems they lead to? Yes, so Magnus and Pyro are the most likely ones. Icon the Prowler has priority over ships like the M2 and Polaris, even though ships are way older, which need for the story. UE Navy should have hundreds of these. Yeah, but they might not be used in Squadron 42. So there's going to be a mixture of content they've got planned, building out the race, so they want a single ship from the Xi'an, a single ship from the Tavara, and a single ship from each of the alien races, so they can have a style guide and build more onto that at the same time as doing other things as well. And some ships are just needed earlier for Squadron 42 potentially, or other needs. So their prioritizations sometimes are a mystery. Wanted to say a big thank you for your concise appraisals of dev news, friendly banter, and communication with us all. You put a prolific effort in, and I just wanted to say how much it's appreciated. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Jen Desperado, thank you very much for the raid as well. I love your face. I like to just chat sometimes. I mean, it gives me a good finger on the pulse for what people want and looking at the Star Citizen sort of thing. So it helps me make content. Do you think we're moving toward more progression, loot-based rewards now that we have caves and group missions? Yes, so they're building out greater mission difficulty and more missions at the moment, for difficulty and group sharing in mind. So expect a lot more of that stuff for 3.8. Oh, thanks very much, Desperado. I will have a good evening. Appreciate it. Yeah, and loot and reputation and that sort of stuff will definitely be part of that. They are building more and more loot into the game. That's where they've got the harvestable system. I'm hoping that we drop our backpacks and actual all our gear on us as well at some point. Do you think the Javelin will ever be purchasable as a standalone ship? I would expect to see it standalone again on the 23rd of November. I suspect they'll sell a small amount of Javelins and Idris. They do every year. Also, you'll be able to buy it in-game at some point in-game. What fighters would fit in the Carrack Spider Bay? I don't think any fighters will. I think it's specific built for the Pisces snub. You might be able to get in like a P-52 or P-72 in there as well. Instead. in-game ships won't have lifetime insurance, right? We don't know exactly 100% know how the insurance system's going to work in-game. Ships you buy might have a very low level of statutory insurance, so you can't truly lose them. Like, maybe you have to pay like 90% of their cost again, but it's better than spending 100% of their cost if you lose them. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what CIG do with that. But you will be able to insure your ships for different amounts and for different types of customization. Lifetime insurance will probably only cover the original hull of the ship, so most people are going to want better insurance because they're going to want to cover their weapons and equipment changes and stuff. The lifetime insurance, as far as we're aware at the moment, covers the hull of your ship, and when you lose that, you will get that hull back. But it could take weeks, months, whatever, based on the size of the ship and based on how the economy is working. Lifetime insurance might not cover everything. It might just be a free low level of insurance, which is what we're expecting now. ETA on Executive 600i. I don't know. So the Executive 600i is the golden black or golden dark grey 600i that is given free to the Legatus Navium backers, the $25,000 backers, which are mad. You're all mad they've done that. It's beautiful mad people. Monetary rewards are nice, but it starts feeling a bit grindy if there's no armor and weapons progression for your character or ship. Yes, totally agree. I mean, all of Star Citizen is endgame, and it's different weapons for different jobs. I mean, some of that is cost-based. How do you keep your costs down? But some of it's sort of like, well, laser weapons are better for here because I need to stay out in the burst longer. I don't want to be able to carry ballistic ammo around with me all the time. But I'm doing short-range runs of combat. Maybe I want ballistic stuff instead. Once Star Citizen launches, do you think people who are buying every ship in-game with real money in the alpha will be a problem, since they start off more powerful? There's inequality in any game when you start off with, because there's got people that have got time, more time than others, or whatever. But also, NPCs going to have gambler ships and you're not. There's going to be peace forces that have gambler ships and you don't. You can join an organization if you want to be part of someone with different sort of like levels and different types of gambler ships and things. So I think, but if you're doing one-on-one battles, yeah, it would be, but you're not going to be doing one-on-one battles typically in the verse. Everyone will go off and do their own thing. I think inequality is actually interesting for the game. You don't want it to be entirely pay to win, where you just go, well, I can buy everything outside of the game, or there's going to be special things that I can only buy outside of the game that give me an advantage. There's certainly an element of pay to win in Star Citizen because, you know, it is an advantage to have more ships than not more ships. So bear that in mind, but it doesn't necessarily mean the game's going to be bad at all because of that. It's part of its sort of like funding model. So I think there could be problems with that. It just needs to make sure that there's a little problems as possible. I mean, you could see like Test just go and fly to a system and go, this is ours now. We've got all the ships. But that would be due to their size as well as them having ships. So it certainly needs to be talked about more. It certainly needs to be looked at more. But we don't know so much until we have more of the game. And they certainly, almost certainly, resolve that before it becomes a problem. Do you know what I mean? They'll go, well, okay, let's look at this. Let's make sure it's not going to be this terrible problem. Hey, Bored, what do you think the best, greatest potential for profit, higher-end ships for solar players are? It's going to be based on risk and reward, but there's a huge amount of economy gameplay. If you do huge amounts of trade and stockpile your stuff and then sell it at the right time, you'll probably make a load of money. You could strike it rich on mining. You could strike it rich on surveying land that's amazingly valuable. There's a huge range of gameplay in Star Citizen that's going to allow you to make a lot of money from lots of different things. They do want you to be able to have shops in-game, I believe, and ways of selling stuff in-game. There's Banu Merchantmen, which have shops on board that players can have. Are Titan suits going to appear at CitizenCon? I hope so. I'm very, very excited for the Titan suits. Tactical Tony, thank you very much for subscribing. Very much appreciated. Do you think zero-G hijacking will become easier? Hooks and cables right now, you'd have to fully blow up a ship that engines to take it out in space. Yeah, there's going to be physicalized components, so you're going to be able to disable ships much more readily. There's going to be a multi-tool attachment, which is sort of like a push-pull tractor beam to help you move you around, I believe. And the building push and pull mechanics with you can do an EVA pulling yourself around. There's going to be better EVA suits. There's going to be simulated gravity with the EVA packs, literally thrusting downwards to thrusting upwards to hold you down on the ground. So with the CitizenCon coming soon, do you think poor helpless Redeemer owners might finally get some actual details on our ship? Yeah, I think you'll get some more information on the Redeemer. We cool if they showed at the CitizenCon. CitizenCon armor is this new goodies pack going to plaster CitizenCon logos on armor like the trench coat? Possibly. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. $15 is a bit too expensive for me to grab a load of packs like I did with the 2018 packs. Do you think we should have a way to save or bookmark unlisted locations such as caves before data running gameplay is implemented? Yes, I think we should have that as part of the star map. And be able to save it into a locations system. 100%. If you have lifetime insurance and you want to get better insurance than what you get with lifetime insurance, do you think it costs less, like an upgrade, or full, as you didn't have lifetime insurance? Don't know. I would expect that they probably won't consider lifetime insurance when you're upgrading insurance values. They'll just go, different type of insurance, bam, covers all your gear and weapons and changes. It's a nice way of going, lifetime insurance isn't that much of a perk, but it is a free perk. I just don't want lifetime insurance to be like, lifetime insurance is significantly better than all other types of insurance. Deal with it. That would be shit. I noticed the Starfarer mechanics aren't on the roadmap. Do you have any info on why? I thought they said it was being worked on a year ago. They were working on it a year ago. They reprioritized stuff. I would expect to see refueling properly in game from the Starfarer next year, though. But they reprioritize stuff all the time. They're focused at the moment on mostly Squadron 42 elements. So once that's all out, then you'll start to see a lot more stuff for the Persistent Universe, which is more Persistent Universe-centric. Do you think hull breaching tech will be included in upcoming missions like the N80 jump mission? Potentially. I mean, they could probably do hacking pretty easily. You could hack doors literally by interacting with them, hacking them. Use a crypto key or like a tool, cunning tool or whatever on your multi-tool. So yeah, you might see more breaching. Or we know you're going to be able to breach into certain areas, certain doors, turrets, and stuff like that. So I'd like to start seeing that in game. It'd be cool if they do start putting that in game. We have ship shields now, but do you think we'll be building shields and maybe even planetary shields like Star Wars? I mean, you might see like in lore or an alien race with a planetary shield or something, maybe. I wouldn't expect it sort of like us placing down planetary shields. Shields for bases, yeah, probably. Outposts getting shielded, makes sense. One of the reasons you could have shields that protect it from ships and the air until they've been assaulted on the ground and disabled, then ships and that sort of stuff can come in. I like that idea. For the inconvenient question, but what's your take on the grey market or buying ships on eBay, which seem to be a bit cheaper with more variety? If it's grey market, then it's sort of like fine to do. It's going to happen. In any game, typically there's some like quite in-depth black markets. I use the grey market occasionally. I bought some flare the other day on the grey market. I would advise caution on the grey market though, and lots of caution on the black market. Black market is not supported by terms of service by CIG at all. In fact, effectively against them. The grey market is something which is a grey area or CIG don't support, but they don't say is against their terms of service. So you can buy ships with other people. So just bear that in mind if you're buying anything on the Reddit or eBay or whatever, that you're not supported by CIG in those purchases. If there's a problem or someone steals them or whatever, it doesn't give you your items, then CIG can't help you, or are unlikely to be able to help you. Yeah, I'm surprised the Taurus isn't in game yet. Maybe it's getting some of the RSI Mantis treatment. Maybe it's going to appear at CitizenCon. I don't know. Do you think we'll get personal shields kind of like Halo? I think, well, they're going to have deployable shields. I'm not sure about personal shields. I'm looking for a video about the effectiveness of the Mantis since it came out. Any updates? Thanks. They need to work on it more. It's very short range. It's not particularly effective. There were some bugs with it. It can be used, but there's no real gameplay to support it either. So when you take ships out of Quantum, if you blow them up, you're going to get a limited amount of loot off them at best. So there's no way of transferring money to players. It's really hard to transfer cargo unless they've got boxes that aren't commodity boxes, and if you blow them up, you might get a percentage of those boxes spawn. So they need more gameplay to support it. Hey Board, what do you think about quantum system? Still needs shortening of time traveling from place to place. I think it still needs at least a third of the time knocking off. I mean, I'm happy with a little bit of tweaking with that, especially in the short term. But small ships shouldn't be traveling huge distances constantly, especially when we have more systems to support that. So once you can dock with a Kraken, it takes you somewhere, great. Once you can get on the Genesis Starliner, it takes you to another planet, and then you can get off and rent a ship. Those sort of systems need to be in game. And then I think that sort of like time travels, the distance travel time is fine, because what is it like the longest distance to travel in the standard system? 4 minutes by 890 jump, but 16 minutes by a Mustang Alpha. I used to travel for hours and hours in Eve cargo running. And you've got to remember that sort of like the economy will make up for all of this stuff. So if there's reasons to travel, you should be amply rewarded for it. There'll be interesting points of interest and events, things that happen on the way as well. In the future, once they have the dynamic mission system and that sort of stuff, you won't be constantly being interdicted by asteroids, which has been fixed in 3.7.1, things like that. So I mean, if you just focused on one game all day and learning about it and researching it and talking about it, you would be most people would be as good as me. I would expect being able to relay off information. I look at the questions, I answer it with the information I have available or I'm aware of. Some of the stuff I don't know, I'll give you the most information I know about it. Will there be dedicated ramming ships? So, I mean, the Hammerhead does have a reinforced rammy bridge, but it's not sort of like dedicated for ramming. You've got the Vandal Blade and Glaive, which are supposed to have some ramming potential. I would expect to see maybe a couple of ships that are more ramming orientated, but they're not going to want ships that are pure rams, because it's a weird thing to do. It's like they want ships for combat. They go, well, that ship, all it wants to do is ram me. And then it's, do I destroy it before it rams me? That's the sort of thing. Like, that's not real fun gameplay necessarily. Yay, Board, woo! Thank you very much for the love. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate all the people joining me today. I am going to go for lunch a bit, though. I'm going to be streaming again on Monday. And Monday, Friday, and maybe Wednesdays as well. Maybe we'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday from now on. We'll try that. Try Wednesday as well. The weekends are weird for me because I'm sort of like, I want to get a video up in the news, but I also want to chill, make sure my family's alright, and I get all my admin done on the weekends as well. When Zin's working for me, we'll stream at least one day on the weekend, probably both days as well. We need to get the Man of Medan stuff out, actually. We did a playthrough of Man of Medan, which I'll put on the second channel. It was done a while ago. We got it from... Me and DC did our own playthrough, and Kit and Zin did their own playthrough. We had very different play experiences. We've also got... We Were There Together. There's some cool co-op games and stuff that I'll chuck up on the second channel. I'll get the 7 Days to Die stuff that we did, me and Cameron, on the Alpha 18, Cameron Zen. I'll get that up on the second channel as well. You want a 12-hour marathon stream? If I was playing some gameplay, I probably would stream for a bit longer. I had a lovely bottle of wine yesterday, but it sort of like knocked me out when I was playing board games. When I got home, I was going to stream. I got home, and then I just had to sleep. It was nice. I mean, the alternative is that you take a Genesis Starliner between planets, but then claim ships back between planets. So in the future, you're going to not be able to claim ships like that in the same way, I would expect. Like if a ship is in a particular location, you're not going to be able to claim that ship on insurance when it's just in a different system. It's going to have to be you actually have to have lost the ship. My expectation is that it'll be ship rentals for those purposes. There'll be people having ships bought on different planets for different reasons that they own and moving those things around. You'll probably be able to hire NPCs and other players to move your assets around for you as well. But it's not sort of like going to be, well, spawn my ship here. It'd be, well, your ship is here, physicalized here. What else have we got? What's for lunch? I don't know. Chuck a chicken in the oven, so I'll probably have that for dinner. I might just have some chicken soup. I'm on a diet, and I've been eating a lot recently, because I'm naughty. I've got some picanha steak, some might be Australian Wagyu picanha steak, because Zin likes steak, and so does Cameron, and I'll be cooking that at private land that we're going to be doing at the start of November. We'd like go away, Senate Parks, play board games and video games, and eat and drink nice food. And I used to be a chef, so I'm reasonably good. Cameron did some amazing Wagyu ribeyes at one point, which must have cost a fucking fortune just for the individual steaks. They actually made Zin cry. She enjoyed them so much, those steaks. So I said I'd do some picanha, which are absolutely fantastic steaks. I mean, if you've not had picanha, it's probably the nicest steaks you can have flavour-wise, in my opinion. And texture-wise, if you do them right, they are super fucking tender. Also got a load of nice wine and stuff like that as well. But I've got some picanha to test, so that I get it right for private land, which I need to cook for me and my family. I'll probably do in the next couple of days. Hopefully we'll have 3.7.1 next week. I'd expect it probably to drop on Tuesday, would be my expectation. Really, if they just fix the issues with my multi-tool and weapons randomly disappearing. Yeah, I believe those are they're being addressed in 3.7.1. But obviously the load of quantum travel problems, the components going missing on ships problems, they've been addressed as well. Yeah, 3.7.1 is an open PTU at the moment. So they're addressing those problems, or they've fixed them already with a lot of the problems I had. Fantastic. Right, do we have any more questions about anything? Before I dash off. I have got a new video up talking about some of the... Let me fucking find it. Let me find it. Talking about 3.7.1c. Talking about some of the new gameplay features we might be getting very soon in the game for 3.8 for CitizenCon. There was a Star Citizen Live sort of a summary. They've been talking about new missions. They've been talking about crafting in game to a greater extent than I thought they were going to, and all this stuff looks like it's coming soon. So check that video out. Get shareable link. Shabab, kebab. What the heck is picanha steak? Picanha. Let me show you. So, picanha is sort of like the sirloin cap. Sorry, the rump cap. It's got quite a lot of fat on it. It's a muscle that's not very used very much by the cow, so it's very tender. But it's got the flavour of rump, so it's hugely flavourful. And it's absolutely lovely. It's the favourite cut of beef, I think. I love ribeye as well. I might do some cooking videos eventually on the channel. Probably in the future. Maybe if my dad's doing well in the near future and after Christmas, might start looking at doing some stuff on the barbecue and chatting while doing that. Maybe. When can we see more combat content from you? And do you plan to cover combat more in the future? Yeah, we'll do meta and combat in the future. I don't see a huge amount of point at the moment. General gameplay, yeah. Some combat gameplay, yeah. I mean, I'm playing with some of my orgs, some of other random orgs, Rexilla, other streamers and YouTubers, 100%. I'll try and do that. I might have some more stuff up this weekend on that. Hi again, Bored. Do you know what gameplay around stealing ships could be like? Perhaps changing ownership, hacking or something, or just for scrapping purposes. I'd expect early ship stealing to be for scrapping purposes, and eventually you might be able to jump through some hoops, get ownership changed over or hacked over or something. They've got scrapyards for the purposes of selling ships, stolen ships, I believe. What's the best ship to get from your 60k to... I've saved 60k from my Aurora. What's the best ship to rent? Avenger Titan, Cutlass Black, Arrow, Prospector, something like that. Short Rib and Bone Marrow. Yeah, I love Short Rib. I love Bone Marrow. But Picanha, I promise you, try out Picanha. It is fucking amazing. Right. They seem stuck on passing damage technically to components accurately. Any news on this moving forward? They're working on physicalized components and the damage component and physical damage system. They need to come in before they actually have that stuff in properly. So I'm hoping that we get that by the middle of next year is what I'd expect. Physicalized components for like 4.1. Physicalized components, physical damage system. Would I want in game by then, personally? We need that. Right. Birico pork is fucking amazing as well. But we'll talk about that another day. Any other questions before I go? Because I will go for din-dins. Find someone else to stream. Thank you very much for the love and the subs and the donations. People tracking their Twitch Prime subs at me, people donating, people tracking bits at me. It's very much appreciated. It does all go into supporting the channel, and it is much love. Did you watch the last Star Citizen live? Oh, that's the Eagle 6. Yes, I did. Do you know any good cargo routes for this update? I haven't found any. Let me send you to a website. Sticks the Skull still got the most up-to-date one. First Mate, is First Mate the most up-to-date one still? Start working for 3.7. Trade history prices. Not sure if it's updated. Has anyone got what's the other trade calculator other than First Mate? There's another one. I have them open somewhere. There's First Mate. Filters and tools. Hardpoint.io. There's another trade calculator I use that's just definitely up to date. I don't know what it's called. There are trade calculators which will be very useful. You'll find one. Typically from one of the sort of like mining bases on one of the moons, like somewhere on Daymar. I think I used to use going to Olisar. Was it Daymar? Was it Daymar? Or is it? Might be. I can't remember. I haven't been trading much in 3.7. Because it's basically the same old, isn't it? I don't need to really generate our PVC at the moment. Also, you can make a lot of money just from FPS mining. They said they had to rework the shape of ships to pass damage. Using that small reworks across the board. To some extent, I mean, they need physicalized components, and they need the physical damage system, and they need tweaks to the ships. But I wouldn't expect to see huge reworks to any of the ships or anything beyond materials updates and lighting updates and light updates. They need, well, and they've been putting in all the areas for the physicalized components to go as well already. So I asked to show Shadow. It's costly. So is it a number one or must for it? We know it's optional. What? I'm the Noise Master. Nice. Noise! Thanks very much, Legend. Appreciate it. Right. I am going and eat. I love you guys. Thank you very much for the love. Much appreciated. We are going to go and post. Oh, Morphologist is online. Give Morphologist some love. He does very good beauty shots and talks about ships and locations based on an architect's view, seeing that IRL. He's an architect. He makes some very good content, and I like him very much. So you should check him out. And I will give him a raid. Right. Love you guys. Thanks very much for joining me today. Very much appreciated. You take care, and I will see you again real soon. Peace. Bam.